Welcome to today's webinar for the Food Distribution Program on Indian Reservations, New Horizons in Reporting and Resolving USDA Food Issues. We're so glad you're able to join us to learn more about this topic. Before I introduce our speakers, I'd like to review a couple of features of the Adobe Connect webinar platform that we are using today. On your screen, to the right of the slides, you'll see a Q&A box. You can type your questions for today's speakers at any point throughout the presentation. Also, let us know if your question is for a particular speaker. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer as many of these questions as we are able to. Also, towards the end of the presentation, we'll be showing you a screen where you can download the slides from today's webinar along with a certificate of completion and a few other helpful resources. So stay on the lookout for that, and also we'll appreciate your feedback at the end on a few evaluation questions to let us know what you thought of today's program. And now I would like to introduce the two speakers we have joining us today. Both are from the USDA Food and Nutrition Service in the Food Distribution Division. Matthew Martin has been a program analyst in the Household Operations branch of FNS's Food Distribution Division for over 6 years. In addition to handling orders of grains, oils, nuts, and dairy products for household programs, he also manages the national warehouses for FDPIR, the Americold warehouse in Nampa, Idaho, and the Paris Brothers warehouse in Kansas City, Missouri. Our second speaker is Tony Wilkins, a program analyst who joined the newly formed FNS Program Integrity and Monitoring Branch team in November of 2015. He has a special focus on projects such as USDA Foods complaints, USDA Foods used in disaster feeding, and USDA Foods safety and recall events. Tony comes from a background of USDA food distribution in the North Carolina State Department of Agriculture. In North Carolina, he worked in areas such as state food distribution, food complaints, and food recalls, as well as grants and contracts management. Thank you so much, Matthew and Tony, for joining us today and sharing your expertise on the topic at hand.
Thanks. So today, our objectives are to identify when you should report a complaint, what is needed when you report a complaint, who can file the complaint, why you should file the complaint, and what you should expect. Before we begin that, we wanted to discuss kind of the national warehouse side of this and where it all sort of begins. And at the national warehouse, warehouse managers for the warehouse in Nampa, Idaho, and the warehouse in Kansas City place orders for those warehouses typically 3 months in advance. Those orders come in to the warehouses. They are stored accordingly. They are stored, if they need to be frozen, refrigerated, dry storage. The warehouse stores them as they should be. The warehouse then practices first in, first out, but does pay attention to dates as they come in, as sometimes some vendors have different festive use-by dates that, or shelf life dates that they have. So while they do practice FIFO, they do pay attention to the dates to ensure that the best product is going out in time. Whenever it's time for a multi-food order, you typically need to have your order in 8 business days prior to your delivery date. And then 5 business days prior to your delivery date, the warehouse then begins picking or putting together the order to then be shipped out to your site. Once you receive your order at your site or at the site, please take a look at your bill of lading to ensure that everything that you ordered is there. That that the dates look good. As you can see, the best of use by dates. You really want to have at least 2 months. That is required of the national warehouse. So we do want to know when that does not occur. And please check your temperatures to ensure that everything is arriving to you in good condition. And as far as responsibilities of the warehouse, the national warehouse, and the FNS contacts, you really only want to be contacting the national warehouse If you have issues with a delivery date or a delivery issue such as if there is product that's not good, or let them know so that they can then start the process of getting you a product that is good. And the delivery dates would be like next Friday is Good Friday, and if your site is closed, then you need to contact the warehouse to ensure that they know that you will be closed that day, and you need to get either a new date before or after that date. And then you want to contact, your FNS contact, your regional contact, whenever you have, also when you have delivery issues, you need to let them know as well so that they can, be aware. If you're concerned about any product availability at the national warehouse, let them know, and they can get in contact with us here at the national office. Any order management issues, any product complaints, any receipting issues. If you want to just check to know if your order is in the system, and if you're just having WebSCM issues, please contact your FNS regional contact for those issues. And thank you.
Thanks, Matt. So I'm Tony Wilkins, and I thought I would just share with you today some thoughts as far as program integrity and monitoring branch. So as Lindsay mentioned earlier, we're a fairly new branch, and as part of one of our parts of our mission is capturing and resolving complaints. And so when you think of program integrity and monitoring branch, please think of us as kind of the hub of complaints. We have a lot of connections through the FNS office, so we're a really good resource for you to reach out when you're having issues with USDA Foods. So you say, well, how do I reach you? Well, we have several ways. Well, we have a toll-free number, and from 6 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time till 5 o'clock that evening, we have a variety of people who their phones will ring when you give us a call. If you prefer to, you can also send us an email, and we will respond to that. Before we get into web supply and in the entry process, I wanted to just kind of share with you how we're viewing this whole process. And when you're giving us a call or an email, or you're filing a complaint in web supply, you're telling us what symptoms that you're seeing at your location. And what we're doing is, as you can see from the diagram here, we're kind of looking underneath the grass, and we're finding problem. And then we're seeing, in many cases, there's multiple causes that are causing these problems. So, what may seem to be a simple, easy fix from your end ends up being multiple causes that we need to kind of iron out and look at from our level. So our goal is to do three things. We want to reduce losses. If possible, we want to recover. And then ultimately what we all want is we want to resolve these so they stop happening. So it's part of my being here today is trying to encourage everybody here on the line and joining us is to help us collect this needed data. And this data is coming in from all programs. So what may be happening to you on the FDPIR side may also be happening in the CSFP program from the same vendor. So very good information, and we'll talk about what we are really looking for later on in the presentation. As I mentioned earlier, we got a lot of different partners here at FNS. One of them is AMS, who works mainly with contracts and making sure they're focusing on the farmer. At FNS, we're focused on the feeding part of it, and also in the same building that we're located is the Office of Food Safety, and then, of course, they're focused on the food safety part of it. So we're all in conjunction trying to achieve different goals, but the ultimate goal is to get these complaints resolved. As Lindsay mentioned earlier, there's going to be some attachments at the end of the presentation. Two of them that are applied to the storage and inventory management of USDA Foods is the 709-5 and also the FD107. And these are not very long documents, but they give you a lot of detail. So I would encourage you to print them out and just take a look at them. And like I said, it gives you a good overview of what the expectations are. So let's jump on into why to report a complaint. So we kind of broke these into several different areas. The first one would be a safety issue. This is like an illness or injury that has actually occurred, not a perception that it could occur. The other one would be transportation issues, not making appointments. As Matthew mentioned earlier, you're opening it up and you're finding a lot of leaking product. Maybe the trailer door doesn't have a seal on it. The next one would be with delivery issues. Are you inspecting what you're expecting when the truck pulls up? Are you checking temperatures to see if it's in compliance with the food that's enclosed in the trailer? Are you looking for load and shift damage? Has the load actually been loaded and secured properly? And another issue would be product quality. We've had some complaints on this recently filed. Taste, odor, the color. These are things that we definitely want to hear about. Packaging issues. Is the product leaking? Are you getting a pallet full of a product and then you're getting halfway down in the pallet and you're finding leaky product with collateral damages? Another thing we're looking for is foreign objects. Some objects are natural. You may actually find maybe a worm in your corn. That's a natural object. But then you may, or a bone. But on the other hand, you may find something that's not expected, like a piece of metal or a piece of plastic. If you find these items, hang on to them. And I'll go into more detail later on of what we're looking for on those. But definitely want you to report foreign objects if possible. The last one was USDA product specifications. Sometimes we're finding out that these are not being met. Your performance of maybe you're getting a pasta product that's not cooking properly. We'll be looking for trends in that area and trying to find resolution. So, but just to be assured, anytime you put a complaint in web supply, somebody's actually looking at it and investigating it. And before any complaints closed out, I personally have to look at it and make sure that it's getting the proper resolution and it has been reviewed properly. So I'm going to go into web supply in detail in a minute, but just keep in mind this is a permanent record for your complaint. So who should report a complaint? Well, anybody receiving foods can report the issue by email or by phone, but if you want to get it into web supply and have a permanent record, it's going to have to be entered in the system. So not everybody has access or security to enter these complaints. So make sure that somebody at your facility has that ability to do that. I'm going to turn it back over to Matt.
All right. So what is WebOSCM? WebOSCM is our system of record. It's what we use to procure the foods, to fulfill the orders that are put in by our states, by our national warehouses, by the ITOs whenever they place a MultiFood order. WebOSCM is the system that we use. It's how we, again, it's the system of record. So before you can actually enter a complaint, you must receipt for the MultiFood order. And in order to do that, the bill of lading must be uploaded by the national warehouse. This is notated by the delivery document number, which is on the next slide here. Yeah, it isn't, I'm sorry, that might be a little small there, but it is an 800 number, an 8000 number that actually pops up, and that lets you know that your order is ready to be receipted for. If you are unable to receipt for your order, then you can let your regional office know, and you can also let the FNS WebOSCM help desk know. And I didn't put that up here, but that email address is WBSCM-FNS-help@usda.gov. And if you're having trouble receiving, again, let your region know, let us know, let that email address know, the help desk know, so that we can then get your BOL uploaded so that you can receipt and then you can begin this process.
All right, Matt, thanks. So another shameless plug here for our hotline and our email address. As Matt said, the complaints of you got to have the bill of lading uploaded and before you could ever put anything into web supply. So I've talked to a few people one-on-one about the process, and on a couple of occasions this has been the process that's been causing a holdup from getting complaints in the system and sometimes some frustration. So step one, make sure you've got your load receipted. So I'm going to, in a few slides later on, I'm going to show you some actual documents. But number one is you need to have the sales order number to get started, or the multi-food request number. That's going to be the cornerstone of getting your complaint into web supply. So you're going to have to start pulling some stuff together before you ever sit down and try to get this complaint into web supply. So what are we looking for? We want to know who the vendor is. So you could type that into the complaint, or you could actually send us pictures or video of what you're working with. We're looking for stuff like lot number, the best if used by date, pack dates, even case labels, excuse me, actually may not mean a thing to you or me, but means a lot to the vendor. So everything you share with us, when we turn that complaint over to the vendor, if it's needed to be, they'll actually be looking for this information. We want to know how much you got of unacceptable product. Maybe you've got 2 cans that you found leaking. That should equate to 1 case, because every time you account for something, it's in case quantities. So we want to know how much you got that's having a problem with it, and if you've got a lot of product, we want to know how much you're storing to the side until we get it resolved. We also want to know if there's been any injuries or illnesses. And most of all, tell us what you want to resolve this complaint. Are you just letting us know, or if there's something more to the story that you want us to dig in deeper on? So tell us what's going to take to make you happy. So what we're looking for is you to tell us the 5 W's: who, what, where, when, and why. And after we get that, things can quickly start moving. So here's an actual bill of lading, and as you can see, in the center, about halfway down the page, is the sales order number. Of course, on the bill of lading, it shows order number. So like I said earlier, this is going to be the cornerstone of getting your complaint started. So now we know what that number is. We can move and jump into web supply. So if you've got access to web supply, I've actually outlined in yellow the tabs that you need to click on to get the complaint filed. So as Lindsay said earlier, this is going to be available, so I would highly recommend printing out, if you're not familiar with this, printing out starting at page 21 through the rest of the slides, and just use it as a handy-dandy desk reference. So we're going to take a little time here, and I'm going to slow down a little bit. I'm going to go through them slide by slide, and I'll try not to put you to sleep. So the first one is Operations tab. It's the first one you see highlighted in yellow. Once you click on that, you'll go to Complaint Administration. And then the box over on the right-hand side is going to appear. And the ones you see in yellow are the ones you want to click on. So as you can see on the right-hand side, there's little drop-down arrows. So what you want to do is you want to go Orders Completed by All Business Partners. And once you've got all that clicked on, then you go down to the next box where it says Order Number. And from there, this is where you put in your magical 1000 number, the one you've looked up earlier. And then once you hit that, you're going to see where you received, again, where you have already received this load in the system, and then you can start your complaint. So you see the box, the yellow box where it says transaction number. You click on that, and it's going to take you to the next screen. Oh, but as you probably all know, there's the wonderful waiting wheel that spins and spins while we wait for web supply to load up. So sometimes it can take a while. So watch your wheel up in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, because it could take 30 seconds or longer. Even up here at the national office, it takes a while. So be patient, and it should appear. So the next screen is what's actually going to appear. So now you've determined you off your sales order, your bill of lading, which we saw earlier. We're going to pick out one item, and today it's going to be the applesauce. So which is, I believe, line 2000. It's kind of small, but anyway, it's in yellow there. So there, as you can see where the red arrow is in the checked in the box, this is where you will click on to select the line item with the item you're having an issue with. And it will grab that item, and then you see in the bottom right-hand corner in yellow is the next button you'll hit to continue on with the complaint, getting the complaint entered. All right, so from there, on this screen in yellow are the things that you'll need to enter in. So what we're looking for is a brief description. So with this one, you're having an issue with 2 cans of the applesauce, and then you tell us what date you found out you had the issue, and on the box below is the date that you actually received the product, which is on your bill of lading. So in this scenario, you found out that you had 2 cans of applesauce. Well, but we go by case quantity, so you only would put in 1 case that was affected, even though you had 2 cans. We look at everything by case quantities. And then in the next box over, you tell us you have 20 cases of applesauce remaining. So that gives us an idea of what you got left on hand. So you've given us a lot of great information up to this point. Now, if you have any pictures, you'll see a button in the bottom left-hand corner that says Attach. And this is where you'll click on to attach any photos that you may have. Maybe you're going to show us pictures of moldy applesauce. Maybe you'll show us dented cans. Maybe there's a picture of the outside of the case, of a case label. All good information that goes into the permanent record. So as you scroll down the page on the right-hand side, in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see a button to continue on. And this just kind of goes into detail about how you can, when you uploaded the picture of a can top, let's say of the applesauce, please note that the file size can't be over 10 megabytes. So a lot of people send it to us in a PDF format. If you need help with that, give me a call. I'll help you go through that process. And let's say you forget to add the photo on, you can still send it to me and I will attach it to your complaint for you. But there is, again, keep the file name short, like in this example, can top pick, and then go ahead and attach it. So as we were talking earlier, it's screen by screen. On that screen there, if you scroll down, you'll have options to tell us more information. Are you having issues with packing condition? Are you having problems with just overall commodity concern? There's different, you don't have to put anything in any of these, but if you have specific issues you want to tell us about, this is the place to put it. At the very bottom in the center, you'll see in yellow, if you're just letting us know for trend analysis, that's fine. But there's another box down here that talks about replacement or reimbursement. You're going to get that replacement or reimbursement from your national warehouse 9 times out of 10. So you would not check that box. But again, that's just information you can add on to the complaint to give us a better picture of what's happening. So here we are. We're at the end. And once you hit the submit button, it's going to ask you again, are you sure you want to submit a complaint? And when I was in my prior role, I wouldn't have gone through all this trouble if I didn't want to submit a complaint. So the answer is yes or okay. So at that point, when you hit okay, ta-da, there you go, it's completed. And you will get a confirmation. And it will actually, as you can see in yellow, give you a number that starts with 500. This is your permanent record. And this is a number, some people actually just keep a little sheet on the side with their complaint numbers, and you can go back at a future date and see what's happening with your complaint. So I'll go into that in just a few minutes. So I'm trying to tell you, this is a permanent record. And I know in the past, maybe you called a friend of a friend and tried to get resolution from complaints in other manners. I'm trying to tell you today, give Web Supply a try. And it's a permanent record. It gives us the ability to search complaints for trending on a national level. It also gives you the ability to get real-time updates of notes of what's going on with your complaint and any decisions that may affect a vendor. So let's say you put in a complaint 2 weeks ago and you're just curious to see what's going on. You can go back into Web Supply, go under Operations, go under Complaint Administration as highlighted in yellow, and then follow the other things highlighted in yellow. Go under Complaints, All Business Partners, the last 12 months, and then complaint number, and then on the very bottom one, that's where you'll put in your special unique complaint number. And at that time, you can go down, and as you can see on this example here, which is a totally fictitious example I made up, you can go down and look, and it says additional order data, and it tells you the notes, remarks, stuff that's going on in regards to that complaint. Again, I made all this up, so it's not real. So this is a good place for you if you're wondering what the world's going on with your specific complaint. You can get updates. On the other hand, let's just say you also have the option, once again, to pick up the phone or give us an email, and we'll also get you that information one-on-one. Also, if you're new to this or you got new people coming in that want to learn about putting it into Web Supply, I've done this before with a few other people. I'll be happy to take 30 minutes, whatever it takes, to walk you through this process one-on-one for the first couple of times until you get used to the process. So utilize me and the PM team as a resource to help you get acclimated to doing this, because we're really trying to sell you on using Web Supply. So you say, okay, Tony, what's been going on? We've heard this complaint's been put into the system in all programs. Tell me what's getting done. So I want to assure you that vendors are now taking the complaints very seriously, and they're being very well documented now. So maybe that's part of the reason why. But we're seeing things like vendors making line changes. They're putting in new equipment for things like metal detection. They're putting in different types of totes. It's just a wide variety of things going on, including more detailed training from the vendors to the people working on their lines. So things are moving along. We're seeing things, like I mentioned earlier, about like collateral damage. We're seeing maybe some leakers that are actually affecting other products. This was a photo submitted here. As you can see, it's kind of hard to see what it says on the side of that case there. So if you're going to submit a photo, make sure that it's legible and we get the most value out of it. So just to kind of recap, we're looking for safety issues. We're looking, again, if you're going to get replacement, go ahead and get it from the national warehouse. And many times we'll get reports just to let us know what you're finding. You may be finding 3 dented cans in your location, but nationally, that one vendor may be having a larger problem. So your piece of the puzzle may actually bring a lot of clarity to what's going on a national level. So all complaints are very much appreciated. And I said earlier, a picture's worth 1,000 words. If you've got a ruler or a coin or something like that to put beside whatever you're taking a picture of, if it needs to be, we need to measure the size. It's very important. The picture on the left is something somebody sent me, and I'm still trying to figure out what it is. So make sure it's clear what you're sending us. All right, and Matt touched on this a little bit earlier. You need to really be inspecting what you're expecting when the truck pulls up. So make sure you're taking temperatures, checking temperatures, making sure you're counting what's coming in, checking those best if used by dates. I know I've got a couple of them recently. So there's been a couple that came in that were really close to the line as far as being 60 days. So all that is very important. One of the things I always try to equate it to, when that truck trailer pulls up, it's got a high value to it. It's USDA Foods. It could be the actual equivalent of a cost of a new car. So take the time to inspect what you're expecting and let us know if you're not finding what you're looking for. So from Program Integrity and Monitoring Branch, I think you should be looking for better results and better communication about complaints on USDA Foods, and that's our goal. You're our partners. We're trying to get you what you're looking for. So look for better things in the days and months to come. Again, another shameless plug. We're here to help you. 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday through Friday. So don't feel like you're alone on this. We're here to help you. And we're going to turn it back over to Lindsay.
All right. Thank you so much, Tony and Matthew, for providing all that great information about how our partners can submit their complaints and let us know about any issues and what all that you've been doing to try to work towards resolving those. And we're now going to transition over to the question and answer portion of the webinar. So just as a reminder, we'll be taking the questions that you type in through Adobe Connect. You'll see a box to the right side of the slides, and you can type your question in there, and we'll review and answer those. Okay, and we'll give you all a couple of minutes to think of your questions. And while we're doing that, we're going to switch over your view in Adobe Connect. So now you can also see in the bottom right corner the downloadable files that we've mentioned today. You can download a copy of the slides for future reference. Also, we have a certificate of completion providing one continuing education unit if you would like to document that you received this hour of training today. Also, we have the resources Tony mentioned, the FD 107 and FNS 709-5, which provide a lot of helpful tips. And last, we also have the contact numbers for the Program Integrity and Monitoring Branch, letting you know how you can get in touch with our team here at the National Office if you run into any issues or have any questions about the process. So those files are in the bottom right corner. Also, we know that some of you are joining us today just on the phone and you weren't able to access the Adobe Connect portion, so I'll also be sending those out this afternoon via email, so you can all have those for your reference. And once again, the Q&A tab is in the top right of your screen. We definitely appreciate any questions you have and look forward to helping you through this process. And just want to mention that on the left side of your screen, we have a few evaluation questions. So before you log off today, if you could just spend a moment to answer those, tell us what you thought. We always appreciate your feedback on the webinars and what we could do to meet your needs.
All right, so we actually do have a question that I can answer here. The question we received is, what is the time frame to receipt orders in WebOS? And I would say that for that, the warehouse should be uploading the BOLs usually within 2 days. And we hope that that is generally the case. sometimes we understand that there may be an issue with the BOL, and we try to get those issues from the warehouse so that we can take care of them. Sometimes we aren't aware of them, or we didn't, so that's where we count on the WebOSCM help desk at FNS to let us know whenever you let them know that you can't receipt for it. They then let us know so that we can go in, upload the BOL ourselves, and get you ready to receipt for that order. I know that's frustrating to not be able to receipt for it, and we really want to make sure that gets in there very quickly, and that is our hope. So please let us know, let your region know, let the help desk know if you can't receipt for it. We want to make sure that you can receipt for it as soon as possible.
And we also wanted to let you know that this webinar has been recorded and will be available on the FNS YouTube channel in the near future. And I'll send out a link to that recording when it's available so you can review today's information and also share it with any of your colleagues who are not able to join us live. And we're continuing to accept questions, so go ahead and keep typing away.
We had another question that came up about what do we do when the temperature is not right, when the trailer pulls up? And I would suggest at that point you need to call timeout, because the wheels are still under the trailer, and we need to find out what's going on. So let's say you've got a load of frozen beef roast, and it's supposed to be stored at 0, and it comes in at 50 degrees. You need to call timeout and get on the phone and call and make contact while the truck's still there.
Yeah, you should call your region, let them know so they can get in contact with us, and yeah, do not let the truck leave.
Great questions. And again, shameless plug, use your regions as a resource. Mm-hmm. And if you're not making any progress, always, again, we got the complaint hotline. You can reach out to us also to help you out. So 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think that was all the questions we had.
So the next question, it's kind of a tough one, but what happens if the driver doesn't want to return the product because he has another pickup or destination that is not an FDPIR site? Again, immediately before he leaves, call your region, let them know we need to get involved very quickly. So that's the suggestion I would give there. I mean, that's something that we need to take care of immediately. So please call your region and let us know.
And on all paperwork that's involved, whether it be what you're retaining or what the truck driver takes with him, make notations on there telling the story of what the issue was. That way, when it gets back and that paperwork's processed, they can see that that specific occurrence has happened and been documented.
All right. Well, it looks like we've answered all the questions we've received, but of course, if you think of anything in the future, you're welcome to reach out with any questions. And I just wanted to close by thanking you all for joining us today. Thanks to Tony and Matthew for your great presentations, and thanks to all of you around the country for listening and learning more about the complaints process and some tips for WebOSCM. And again, before you sign off of Adobe Connect, we always appreciate your feedback. Let us know if this webinar provided useful information, as well as if you're interested in future events like this to learn about other aspects of FDPIR.
We got one last question here before we sign off. What if the items don't have a best if used by date? If it's not listed on the on the bill of lading, or it's not on the product, and contact the region again, and they can contact us, and we'll get you that information. A lot of times, hopefully, it's not a requirement at this point. It's not commercially required for vendors to put best of use by dates. A lot of them do, but sometimes not all of them do. You're right, and so a lot of them do have best of use by dates, but there still may be some that don't. And if that does happen, please get in touch with us, and we'll let you know what the best of use by date is for you, and hopefully that'll solve your problems. And again, if you're ever unsure, just contact us. Let us know. We want to make sure we're involved, and we make this a great team effort, and everything is successful. So thank you.
All right. Well, if we have no further questions, thank you all again for joining us, and have a great afternoon.
Thanks. Thank you.